before we say goodbye, I just want to ask you guys something. I mean, we're talking about a lot of aspects. We touched upon a lot of aspects, right? So, how do you what do you think anime and manga influences society at large? What aspect do you think it
Mm,
influences?
like
I think
uh,
I think
Yeah,
it
no,
Ronnie.
I think it encourages us, most of us, to look beyond what we have grown up with. I mean, to us, I mean, not to Japanese, but to everyone
like
else,
people.
anime, the culture shown in anime is like completely different from what we have grown up in, and it encourages us to look beyond what how society can be. I mean, in what ways it can be bad, and in what ways it can be good, and in what ways it won't really have any effect if even if we stop
Uh,
doing it. Even
the main thing. You continue. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, what
Sorry.
I was saying, yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, it just encourages us to look beyond. I mean, it just shows us that, yeah, you can do this, and everything's still going to be okay for a conservative culture who thinks like, yeah, these things are not okay, and anime it shows the world
Like
that
in
it's all
anime.
right. It's no problem. I think it was talked about in the fashion section, right? Like, it
Yeah,
just
like in anime, you will see like it's just like stories, right? It's about morals, it's about what you should do or what you should not. Like anime or manga or storybooks in general gives you a chance to live a life, or like you get the chance to observe someone else's life, like the mistakes they made. You shouldn't make that mistakes as well in your life. Like it gives you a chance, like it gives you an opportunity to think that this person did this villain did this thing, and it led to chaos. And if some, like, I'm not talking about making some like big old virus and stuff like that. I'm talking about like normal points, like whether to, like there are some gray parts in a society, right? Whether to save a person or not. If saving that person causes harm to your own life, like there's this great thing in our society, in our the way of our life works. Anime shows us whether at or what decision should we make at that time, so that we already know what kind of consequences we might have later on in our life, so we can make a decision on based on that. It will be silly to make a decision to based on like watching a cartoon in general, but you can still do that. You can still think beyond that, what or you have options, because you already have gone through that, you have already experienced that through someone else's life. Like we already know the proverb. I might be wrong. Like learn from others mistakes, and do not wait to make your own mistakes, right? You get to learn from that anime, stories, cartoon, or any form of TV show or something, like any form of illustration of the life of another person.
Right. Tawagno, what do you think? How does anime influences society at large?
I mean, I personally feel it makes me more like sentimental. Like when I'm like down, I normally watch anime, like cool animes, in order to feel a little bit better. So, I mean, that's what I feel. I mean, yeah,
Like an escape.
Ronnie and Rivu says the other things as well. Like it makes you a better person. Like you try to live a life which you haven't lived before. So I feel the same way as well. I mean, nothing more I can add to that.
So does anime inspire this? Snehashish, what do you have to say to that? Does it inspire you in a way to be a
Yeah,
better person? I
yeah.
mean, that's a big statement to
Anime
make.
has done a lot to me. I am learning Japanese right now, and I'm thinking about making a career out of it because of anime. And it has changed me as a whole. Back in 2003 or 4, when I started watching anime, I don't know what it was like. It was a different kind of cartoon back then. Yeah, it's different from the rest of it. I have watched Jetsons and Tom and Jerry and whatnot, but this is different. This cartoon, what I watched first was like Cyborg 009 or UFO Baby. It's completely different. It has a different culture. It has a different understanding. I was like, okay, this is cool. This is nice. So when I
Yeah.
started watching like those anime, I got to know a lot of moral values from it, and that's where it all changed. Like that's how I started like having this thing. Like we Indians are introduced to two cultures usually. Like the first, the Indian culture, what we are born in, our native culture. Indian culture at base, like you can be a Bengali or whatever Bihari culture or not. Indian culture is like it's huge, and the other culture, that is Western culture. So, but the actual Asian culture, the Eastern Asian culture of Japan and China, we don't get to that. But because of anime was in my life, I got to know about their culture, how they are, how they live, and like how it is different than the Western culture. Western culture is more like they like to talk more, they like to interact more. Japanese culture are they're like more to themselves, like they want to be themselves, like be good to people, be polite. That's the
And
difference. Okay, I would have not
This is
gotten to that.
yeah. This is what Snehashi has said something really amazing. I mean, this is what I wanted to begin my discussion with, but because of everyone's microphone check and video check, I completely forgot that we. India was a colony for 300 years, 250 years, yeah,
200 years.
and
200 years.
200,
yeah,
something.
and our education, everything is so Eurocentric. It's so, I mean, you have to learn English. Learning English is like so
We are
much.
in a country and we are conducting this video call, video chat in English. It's not our language even. So
I mean,
Yeah,
I
that's the
think
reason.
most of us are many of us are more familiar with English than they're with the native. As for me, like usually speak more English than Bengali.
yeah, right. So, and in such a situation where we have had Eurocentric education and everything, suddenly this anime and Japanese culture plays a huge part in all of your life. And to begin with, none of us are familiar with Japanese culture and Japanese language, and it has influenced you so much. For some of you have begun to learn Japanese. I mean, trying to use it so productively. Who else? Anyone else wants to add to that? On Indita?
Hmm? Um, well, I've been watching anime since I was 3 years old. So my whole, I mean, more than reading English books or watching English things, I've been more influenced by Japanese things all my life. I mean, even the way I introduce myself in social platforms, I actually use the way Japanese people do, like bowing and all.
Did
Um,
somebody? I'm curious. Did somebody introduce anime to you? Do you have an older sibling or some cousin that introduced?
No, I mean, I just remember this one memory. I was watching some stuff, and then suddenly, Card Captor Sakura came up, and I was hooked. I kept on watching it, and that's how I I got into anime, and then UFO Baby. I I was, I mean, I felt very connected to that anime for a lot of reasons. That's why I got into it, and well.
Shambhala?
Yeah,
Shambhala?
hi.
Yeah. So
Can
what
you
should?
repeat? Can you
Yeah.
repeat it once more?
Yeah. So we are talking about like influence of anime and manga in society at large. I mean, how do you think it influences it?
How did it influence me? Okay, I'll give you my personal experience, right? So, anime, how should I say, like, how did it influence me? I mean, I don't have a definite answer to this as to because I don't know. Anime to me is kind of like this other subsection of a thing which I just like enjoying and like watching. It didn't kind of like how should I say it didn't affect me in any ways in terms of like my personality or anything. But
Like
yeah,
as opposed to what Snehashi was saying that okay, if someone can mute their microphone. Yeah, as opposed to what Snehashi was saying that it completely changed his life so much that he started to learn Japanese and
yeah, I won't say it changed my life, but in certain ways, it did make me like the way I am right now, right? Like even if I do my cosplay right now, it kind of is affected to that. Like my hobbies are more or less affected because of this whole anime thing, right? I also make like Gundam plastic kits whenever I can afford them. So
okay,
yeah,
okay.
that is
Hold on. What are they?
Gundam plastic kits.
Mm-hmm.
So Gundam Plastic model kits are basically model kits. So if you have watched like Mobile Suit Gundam, so in Japan there's this like crazy subsection of this whole otaku culture where like people make small plastic model kits. Like you make it from scratch So I
Oh,
did started making it, and it can go crazy. It can be like someone just like snipping the parts out and like sticking one after the other and like make a whole statue out of it. It can be something as crazy as making sure there's no seam lines between two of the plastics and like make sure that it's like one uniform thing. So it anime, I'd say it kind of did influence my hobby. I won't say it changed me as a person. I mean, my values and ethics are more or less affected because of my strict upbringing as a military kid, right? So I won't say anime did change my life, but or did change my personality or anything, but it did kind of like affected my hobbies. I also do want to study Japanese language, but I don't have the motivation nor the not the focus to keep on to it right now. So I mean, yeah.
right. Adriana?
Yeah, so anime completely, I would say, shaped me as a person.
Right.
Mhm.
Is there a connectivity issue?
I think
I
so.
think
Anime and
so.
video games, and
You froze for a
eventually,
moment.
uh,
You
sorry.
you froze for a moment. There was a connectivity issue. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I was saying that I started watching anime when I could hardly speak, and my first job was writing about anime and video games, and now my current job is also writing about anime. So it shaped my entire life. And when I look back on it, I think what I lacked in my own culture, I found in anime. Like the media from India was so disappointing to me while I was growing up, and I found a lot of Eastern things, a lot of things similar to my culture in anime. Shintoism was so similar to Hinduism, but it was expressed differently, not in the way it is in India or not in the way it is in Indian media. And
Mhm.
I loved all of that. So,
Okay. Tomokno, what do you think?
Someone was said.
Oh yeah, yeah. I didn't hear it,
Read you.
that much.
I
Reju,
think
yes.
Yeah, I
we
did.
just
Um,
read you, Ronnie, whoever you
Yeah, I
spoke
did
with.
already say like how anime like you can get to live the life and you can make the choices based on that because you already learned from
Yeah,
someone
yeah.
else's
okay,
mistake.
so can I speak something for myself, like how it affected me, like as a whole?
Yes,
Is
yes,
like
please.
yeah, yeah.
so anime didn't just inspire me to look up on Japanese culture. I mean, yes, mainly it's Japanese, and that's where we tend to
Mhm.
go, like learn Japanese and learn about the culture and stuff. But anime just it did that for me, but not just that. I mean, it
Mhm.
made me look up different cultures all around the world. It started from Japanese, and now I just love reading about different cultures, different histories of cultures all around the world. And I think it started with anime because I started watching anime. I got interested in this culture, which was completely different from how I know my environment. And that's how I thought, okay, so this completely different culture in a part of the world, and there are so many other cultures all around the world, and it would be so interesting to learn about all of them. And that's how, I mean, I think Western media would still do that to me. I mean, ever since a kid, I mean, I was never really into Indian media. I was mostly into Western media and then anime. But
Mhm.
and I think Western media would still do that to me, but I think it would have taken a lot of time because, like, uh, Western, yeah, I had Western media, but I mean, India was slowly changing. It's still slowly changing, and it is going towards the Western. It is kind of becoming like the Western cultures. Even if it's slow, it is doing so. So there
Mhm.
wasn't too much difference. I mean, yes, there was difference, but I could see myself going towards that culture. But Japanese culture was like completely on a different level. And that's why I got inspired. And in turn, not just history and other cultures, I just uh, got inspired to learn more about different things, like anything.
Right.
And I would say, like, uh, huge amount of my personality today is like because of how I got into anime.
Okay.
Okay, last but not least, Akash, and then we wrap up. Hi,
Yeah.
Akash. You there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, anime is more intoxicating at some point because I do find that sometimes it can make people delusional to some extent, and that is something which is a bit bad when we compare to the influence of it. But yeah, I have seen people that has become delusional from watching anime, so that
Shit.
is there. Yeah, but apart from that, I would say that anime was not solely responsible for like making a huge influence in my life, but it sort of did. It started a chain where
Mhm.
I took influence from a lot of things, and I somehow like the Asian culture in general, be it Central Asia, be it Southeast Asia, be it East Asia. I love Asia in general. So like somewhere down the line, I'm learning Korean. Like I started, I do want to
Mhm.
learn Korean, and I also started that. But at the same time, I do want to settle down in a country like Malaysia or Singapore. So it's very different. It's dynamic, but then I do feel like anime influenced me in some way to that Asian culture, to be attracted to that Asian culture.
Okay. If everyone has time, I just need to I want to ask one question. It's like whatever you've said that it's how anime manga have influenced you. Uh, did it influence your viewpoint, your how you see Indian society as a whole?
It did in case of me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I mean, I actually chose my career based on because of an anime called Hunter x Hunter, and
Mm-hmm.
well, um, in India, I've seen most of people going for jobs which are like which are very much narrow-minded. I like people either go for being a doctor or whatever, but um, well, because of anime, I kind of got influenced by the fact that you can just go away from the mainstream and do something different and
Mm-hmm.
uh, well even I mean animes like Assassination Classroom, it
Mm-hmm.
it with very much subtlety questions the education system, Indian education system. I when I watched that anime, I questioned education system from every point, and um, it made so much sense. And as a weeb from a long time, I was very much bullied in school because I watched anime and Japanese stuff instead of English.
Mm-hmm.
So it made me realize how narrow-minded Indian people can be, and they just do not want to accept anything that is different. And most of the people are like that. By being an anime fan from very young age, I
Mm-hmm.
actually understood.
Okay. Uh, anyone else? Ronnie, what about you?
So me, yeah, everything, any kind of media or anything I consume affects my worldview. If it like will affects me, it affects my worldview. And yes, anime
Mm-hmm.
did the same to me. I questioned about stuff I grew up in, and I saw like uh, I mean, Japan is not like this utopia. Okay, I mean, I
Mm-hmm.
think many people who watch anime think like Japan is this utopia. It's not. It is still
Mm-hmm.
a conservative culture. They have still conservative and everything. But in India, like, I just thought, okay, so many stuff around me, they just don't make sense. They,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this I just thought like different things around me. They're just stupid, and it just doesn't make sense to me, and people could be so much happier without some things, and if they include some other things into their culture, and anime did that to me. But still, I won't say like Japanese culture is like in utopia, which many people think. I mean, it has
Yeah.
its own problems, but it does, I
Yeah,
mean, introduce you to a different culture, and so you can like get like, yeah, so many things are different, and there are these
like
good parts
yeah.
which we should also incorporate.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Japanese culture is not very different from like our culture as well. Like
Mm-hmm.
Japanese people are can be always also be very racist and xenophobic, like we are. Like we are
Mm-hmm.
actually very racist, like we Indians as a whole.
Mm-hmm.
So, but then again, Japanese are still trying to like improve in a way. At least their animation, their arts, like they are trying to improve through their media. In
Mm-hmm.
India, I don't think there is much of an improvement. Like at least through media, at least through television, I don't think people are accepting other norms. Like I don't think that. But in Japan, at least through media, they're accepting the newer aspects of life. Like 20, 30 years before, right now, just 20, 30 years before, not a long time ago, people in Japan would like, if they see a black person, they would just literally run away from them because they would be so scared. But right now, they would accept a black person. Okay, even there are lots of people that are accepting the black culture. Like
Mm-hmm.
by black culture, I mean the hip hop culture, the pop culture that is
Mm-hmm.
originated from the African American society. So,
Mm-hmm.
but 30, 40 years ago, Japan was not like that. Japan, a lot of Japanese older generation would still be scared, extremely scared uh, of black people.
Yeah, there's a lot of
So
racism in Japanese society as well. And
yeah, it's not the
if we
utopia we
talk
make it out to
about
be.
like how anime is like currently showing like they should accept black people, we need to look at their history, right? Like Japan has always been a state of war. Like they're constantly at war with other states. They're constantly in war with the neighboring countries. They're always so violent. Like they're always. But currently, you see in anime culture and popular anime culture,
Mm-hmm.
they are in shonen. They are like trying to show that how war was wrong. Like they shouldn't go into that. They learn the lesson in World War II.
Exactly. War, they have this hatred for war right now, and they want the peace. They want to connect. Like this, the things, the mistakes they have made in past,
Yeah,
like
they want
how
to show
the
that you shouldn't do that.
the shogunate,
Like,
yeah,
or
the
at least
shogunate
that's the way
stopped
I'm
the
interpreting
Christians.
that.
Yeah, yeah. How the shogunate
And
stopped the Christians, and
yeah,
afterward how the Meiji era went with the Christians and everything. Then afterwards there was the
how
World War, and they sided with Germany, and they
they're
like to
all
completely remove that past and make it that war is something that
they're
should not
trying to
have happened.
rebuild that thing. That
Yeah,
they're trying to rebuild that thing, or
they're
at
trying
least
to
that is what
override that past
I
in a different way,
interpret
like in
from
a
what the
more
media.
philosophical way. If we
And
have,
Indian
yeah,
culture, coming to Indian culture, we can also find that the Indian culture is always in a constant state of war. Like we have seen war between oh, I do not want to go there. It might raise some political things, but you are getting
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes.
Current state of politics, I do not want to go in there, but uh, the thing about Indian cultural exchange is that they are not doing anything. I won't say they are not doing. Current media, current generation, like from our generation, they are trying to show that what we used to do were wrong. We shouldn't be homophobic. Japanese people also used to be homophobic. In anime, you can see how they over sexualize the female and male characters
Yeah,
as well.
they are
Like,
still homophobic. So,
yeah, they're still homophobic. It doesn't change their fact, but they're still
but
trying,
they
and
are
so
getting
are we.
better at it. Like
Yeah,
they
they're
are
getting
trying
better
to
at it. We might
understand.
be slow, but you can say like right now, this generation may be the starting point. This generation may be the starting point of like
Like
we are
the
trying to make a change.
characters in anime, that is of the trap character. I was not talking about the gender aspect when the question was asked, because like characters in anime, the trap characters, like that can be of any gender. Those are
Yeah,
not
like traps can be
portrayed
reverse traps as
properly.
well.
Yeah, yeah. They're not. They are
Like
just there for the comic relief, and I don't like it at all.
yeah, like you can see at Hanji, like in never in anime or manga, they have never revealed what Hanji's character is. You can portray him as a male guy, friend of Levi, or you can portray him as a girl.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
it's
in
totally
manga,
there.
yeah, definitely. In manga, Hanji, the character of Hanji was like, it's
It's
completely
still not.
ambiguous. Yeah, but in anime, yeah, Hanji is portrayed
They
as the
try to like they portray it like, and you can find that the problem is like when they convey it to the anime media, like the problem of sexuality comes there. So Japanese culture is not a utopia like Ronnie
Mm-hmm.
said. Like it's not that great. It's not that
Yes.
we should like,
Yeah.
but it has it's trying to make the changes, and so are we. And in our country, like we are still in like violent things. We are still like being homophobic. We are still being we are accepting. Like
Uh,
some older generations are trying to
yeah,
accept. But
uh,
we are accepting the we liberal part of India is kind of
but
accepting this,
still, we are
kind of.
like
Not
our numbers are low.
I mean,
yeah, our
way,
numbers are
way,
definitely
way
low.
low.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
wanted to talk about this since Sneha bought the trap characters, and I wanted to talk about this character Astolfo. I mean, I just love this character for reasons like in the anime Fate Apocrypha. Astolfo is is biologically male. He never
Mm-hmm.
claimed to identify as any gender though. Which
Okay.
I mean, yeah, when John Dark thought that is uh, female, he said, "Oh yeah, no," but he never claimed to be male either, and he dresses as female and everything. So that lives a lot about his gender. I mean, assuming his pronouns because he
Yeah,
could be very well gender queer or gender fluid or anything. I mean, he never
and
claimed to be
like
a gender,
Yeah,
and
from
also his
pronoun.
sexuality. Like he never.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when John Dark
Ronnie,
asked,
one second, just one
yeah,
second. Yeah, about pronouns, Japanese is a language that is like very much gender fluid. The pronouns in the Japanese language is very much gender
yeah.
fluid. It can be used for both genders.
I mean,
yeah,
yeah,
So
I
and
get
that
that, but I'm
is there.
speaking in English, so
yeah, also in
that's
the,
how
like
I'm.
coming to Indian culture as well, like the
Yeah, yeah,
thing that
no,
the
no.
current we see the homophobic thing or the like violent thing, it was not there before, right? It was we used to see like
Mm-hmm.
we saw that how in early Vedic period there we used to respect women, we used to like we were okay with
How would you know? Are there
translating.
any
No,
surviving
no.
text or
No, they are
history
not
on
surviving.
that?
We can find that in researches and in the history books, and I'm
Actually,
talking the general
no.
view.
We have. No, actually, no,
We
okay.
Histories
I,
are
I
written
think
by the
I think
winners.
we should
So
not go to Vedic period because that's
like
Yeah,
now
yeah.
I
Even
yeah,
what
I.
yeah,
I wanted to say
I
that
I can discuss that
I
we
somewhere
think
totally
else.
forgot we were
I
like
think we are digressing, but
Yeah.
I
no, I was
do
like we are
yeah,
agree
talking
yeah,
about
that
cultures, right? Like the
yeah,
culture is
yeah.
not the
right.
a like a very old society. Like the Indian society, the culture
No,
is
like you
very old.
brought up history, like you brought up
It has a
history,
lot of
and things
variations in
were
it.
no, listen, you brought up history and you said that things were progressive in Vedic period, but
Yeah,
you
but it
have
changed something. I don't know how it changed, and I
it
won't
may
go
be
there.
it
Okay.
may be progressive
Okay.
for you, it might not be progressive for someone else. So always remember
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
history is
Okay. Okay.
is
Okay.
the version
Ronnie, what?
of the one who's writing it.
Okay. I wanted to say yeah, I disagree with Riju on one thing, but I think we still should not go down that path in this video
Yeah.
because
Not now. Not in this one.
Okay, my
yeah.
bad.
Yeah,
Sorry.
not anime related, not anime related at all.
But I do agree with Neha Sheesh what she said that Indian culture in this part of the world we don't have such medium like like Japan has anime and manga where they can write about a lot of things that might in the mainstream society they might find it problematic. It might find it we can't accept this. While I
Mm-hmm.
don't think so, we have that medium in India, do we? I
Now
mean,
we have the short film medium in India, and they try to portray the faults, but they don't
but is
actually
it
get to
as
the
popular
commercial part.
as
Yeah, yeah,
popular
yeah.
as
Hmm.
anime in Japan? No, right?
No,
It
yeah, it
doesn't.
will be not
It
as
doesn't
popular
have that.
because
It
in
doesn't
India,
have that market. It doesn't have that money.
Not just
even if it
money.
has the
People
money,
people
even if
don't
it
want to
has the money,
consume such different
Oh yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
also, yeah.
yeah, they
People
would
just
rather
think, yeah.
consume a movie by Salman Khan than watch an actual movie about this stuff because they completely disapprove that this even is a factor. Okay, like like homophobia does not exist. Nothing exists in their opinion. Like there is only one thing that exists is themselves, and like
Right,
this
right.
is
Okay.
how India works right now.
So we
Okay.
are
Okay.
we are at the end of our discussion.
Anyone else? Anyone else has any viewpoint? Like how did it change your viewpoint towards Indian culture?
Ronnie has to cut out a lot of things right now out of this
I
video.
mean,
Yeah, my
I
Yeah,
bad.
it's
I
Sorry.
speak
almost
about I
pain.
speak about cultures, religions, and everything a lot on a different channel and on my Facebook posts and everything, but I cannot just uh, say all of
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I shouldn't
Yeah.
have brought that up.
Anyone else? Tomogno, Akash, Adriana. Anyone?
I think it's pretty
Yeah,
late.
I mean,
Yeah, like
I don't
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
this
much
is
I
going
think
to
so.
be
It's
the
to
end
add
of
up.
it. Yeah.
Sorry, yes,
Like
sorry.
Riju and Snehashish the pretty much like covered everything up for even for me.
Hmm.
So I don't think there's not much to add up to that.
right,
Okay.
right.
Okay. Okay.
So
Like
thank you, everyone.
before we like
Yeah. Yeah.
I had this one thing. Okay, before
Yeah.
everything ends, like
Mhm.
can anyone like give me suggestion of mangas that I should read? Like I should get some good suggestion out of this. Would you-
Yeah, I can.
Yeah,
because
There's
I'm
like
bored
So
right
multiple
now
send
and
you
mangas.
my
I'm not going out anywhere.
even
I'll send you
I
my My
can.
Anime list,
Oh
my
wow.
Mal manga account. Just look at it. Like whatever I've rated more than 7, just read those.
Can you share it us on the group messenger?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we can
definitely. But it's
share.
it's 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 all it's all rom-com and slice of life, so it doesn't matter at the end of the day.
I mean, that's
I
fine.
love slice of life.
I'm into that.
It's okay. It's a yeah, yeah.
Also, Noob Gamer 99 P90U, he lost his electricity right now, so
Oh,
he
Yeah, it's
couldn't be
okay.
the
It's
part of
okay.
this.
It's okay.
Okay.
It's
okay.
okay.
Let me
So was this fun? Was this interesting, you guys?
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, I joined in late, so but it
Yeah.
was
So
still fun for me.
yeah, you joined late.
Yes.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah. So if we plan another Google Meet, will you guys be interested in that?
Yeah.
Yeah, if I'm free, I
Uh,
would totally like to join.
I'd be
yeah, definitely. If I'm not like preoccupied with
Maybe.
other things, then yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So not
yeah.
anytime soon, but this was fun. I had a lot of fun. It's interesting, and some of you said
Basically, আসছে week আবার হবে.
We don't know June 8th.
all the
Everything is gonna open.
thank you all
But yeah, thank you. Thank
for
you
being
so
in
much.
for your
Alright,
time.
thanks
This was great.
everyone.
Thank you so much for
Thank you,
having us
thank you.
here.
Thank you.
Yeah. So
So,
it will take some time.
Akash,
Like
meeting you guys.
I'll upload the first part
Akash
tomorrow.
Paul is
Yeah.
Akash Paul fan TV left.
সেও দিদি ফেসবুকে
Yes.
যে গ্রুপটা আছে ওটা অ্যাড করে দিও যদি গ্রুপ থাকে কোনো ফেসবুকে।
Okay, it's a
Messenger.
messenger group.
Messenger.
হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে,
Okay,
কোনো
thank you, Thomas, thank you, Ronnie, thank you,
I think
Meenakshi.
Akash
Thank
also
you all
lost
of
it.
you.
Thank
অনেক
you.
ভালো
Thank
লাগলো
you.
কথা বলে।
Thanks
It
Same,
was
everyone.
same.
good.
Thank you, Shampoo,
Wait for the video
Nikita,
on video.
Bye.
and Adriana.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
Tata,
I
absolutely.
hope you make it. I
Ta-da.
hope you did it.
Yeah.
Bye.
Tada, bye bye.
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 Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good
Good
night.
night, good night.
Bye.
Good night. Bye bye.